Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Next Level by Association Virtual. Happy Independence Day. I know it was yesterday, but we're celebrating it today, according to the banks and everybody. So I thought, well, we'll go ahead and hop on and talk a little bit about independence. But I hope you guys had a safe and happy Independence Day. I hope you were able to celebrate with some friends and family. I know many people have friends and family that are either no longer with us or are traveling or maybe in the military or doing some other things. And so we weren't able to celebrate with them. So I just want to tell you that I hope you had a safe and happy Independence Day. And I really wanted to express a couple of things to you. One, I want to express gratitude. I want to express gratitude for those that are watching live, those that are watching recorded, those that are watching in Facebook, no matter where you're watching it. I want to express gratitude for you for being the type of individual that is wanting to be the best version of you, and wanting to be the best version of you, and realizing that there's a price to be paid to do that. Last week I was speaking to somebody that somebody had referred to me, and they wanted to talk about what was going on in their life, and I listened to them, and as I listened to them, all I heard was justification and excuse for why their life was the way they were. And that really I found out that they had an unwillingness to really make very many changes. And as I think about that, I think about what kind of changes had to take place for us to live in the country that we live in today. Now, look, you can complain and say all the bad things that are going on and negative things, but look, in my experience, this is still the greatest country in the world, bar none. Now, that's not because of military, that's not because of economics, although those are huge things as well. The greatest country because of the freedoms that we have. And you know what, more than anything else, because of the people we have. And as I look at my life, and as I look at the lives around me, I am grateful for those people who have who've set the pace, set the standard in the times past. Those people that have really made an all-out commitment, and in many times an all-out sacrifice for us to be where we are. And it never ever tires for me when I see the American flag. Those of you who know me know that I can see a flag, or I can hear the national anthem, and I can get teary-eyed. I mean, I can get emotional just from seeing a flag. And I'm going to recount a story to you that some of you haven't heard. But I mean, many years ago when I was living at the beach, 6-7 years ago, I had a flag that was hanging outside of my door. And it had gotten weathered. I mean, it was, beach weather, and then it had just gotten torn by the wind, and and I decided that I needed to take it down and replace it and put a new one. But I thought, I think that there's like a ceremony that you do to do something like that. And so I looked up what's the proper way of changing a flag or disposing of a flag. And so I won't even go into the details, but as I did it, I said this statement to the flag, and I began to weep as I was thanking this flag for the service and for all the memories that it represented and all the lives that it represented. And I began to weep, and I thought, man, I've never even known how to do this, and now I'm doing it, and I'm emotional. Or sometimes I'll just see a flag and I'll get emotional, or sometimes I'll hear the national anthem and I will get emotional. And sometimes when I just meet a vet, or I meet somebody currently serving in the military, I'll get emotional, because I realize that the flag is so much bigger than the cloth, or so much bigger than what we see waving in the sky. It has a an independence of its own. It has so much more. And there's a price that was paid for it. And the reason I keep saying that is because, I don't know what you want to get independence from today. Maybe it's a poor relationship. Maybe it's bad health. Maybe it's financial disaster. Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's overwhelm. Maybe you're battling bitterness or fear, procrastination. I mean, you name it. What I want you to do today is I want you to write a list of all the things that you're claiming independence from. On this day, right, July 5th, 2021, I declare my independence from, and put those things. Poor sales, an addiction, OCD. How about this one? Busyness, just being busy, just always being busy. Or maybe your poor health. What is it that you are claiming your independence from today? And I really want you to think about it, because it's going to come at a price. And it also is going to be one of those things where you're going to have to claim your independence. It's not like you can just passively go, okay, I want to be free from my bitterness from my divorce, bitterness from a bad relationship, bitterness from a business partner that took advantage of me. I'm just going to be, it doesn't work that way. And so what I want to encourage you is a couple of things. I want to encourage you to know exactly what it is that you want independence from. Write it down, get very, very clear on it. Then the second thing I want you to do is I want you to know what you're running from or running to. So what are you going to claim independence from? And then what does that mean? What are you going to replace that with? What are you going to move towards? And then understand the real reason why. Now, I know I'm just tired of being sick and unhealthy. I'm tired of being in a bad relationship. I'm tired of being addicted. Okay, that's great. But what's the real reason? And the more emotional you can draw, the more emotional you can get about that, the better off you'll be. The more emotional currency that you can muster up for that event, for that separation or that independence of, it will determine the likelihood you'll be able to do it. So let me explain. You've heard me say this before. If I want to buy a Ferrari, I have to have different amount of money than if I want to buy a Toyota. It's not good or bad. It's just the fact. If you want to start going to the gym, it's going to take a different level of emotional currency than if you want to run a marathon. It just is. So know what it is that you're wanting, know why, and then go, okay, am I willing to pay the price that's required to get that kind of result, that kind of independence? For somebody who is having a relationship issue, it might be harder for one person than another person to make that separation or to even make the changes to get the relationship back on course. When it comes down to addictions, there are some addictions that are tougher to beat than other addictions. It doesn't mean that they're not all tough to beat, but there are some. You're going to have an intestinal fortitude. You're going to have a different belief system. You're going to have a different emotional currency, which is going to go back to why you want to do this, to break some habits more than others. So when you think about this, I want you to think about a couple other things. What's the price I'm willing to pay for that independence? Look, it was one thing to just declare the independence from let me say it one way or another. It's one thing to declare independence from one thing, and then it might be something else to declare independence from another. And you've got to decide what it is, and then what you're willing to pay to get that independence. In the idea of our country, it meant leaving everything in some cases. It meant being willing to to fight a fight and know that you might die. I mean, you look at some of the things that some of the wars we've been in, and I'm not making this political. It's not good or bad. It's not an opinion or anything else. But you think the wars we've been in, we have paid a price. And some of them were extremely high price. What's the price you're paying right now? And what's the war you're waging? Is the war you're waging something worth fighting for? Or is it just a fight? Is it just to show your power? Is it just to show your lack of power? Or is it really worth the fight? And the question I always ask myself is, what if I do? And what if I don't? What if I do stake my independence on this? What if I declare it today? What if I even tell 5 of my friends that I'm declaring my independence from blank? What if I do go out and seek counsel or counseling or a coach? Or what if I do go out and seek that? And then what if I don't? And I think a lot of times when we don't ask that question, we struggle even more immensely. And so what I want to encourage today is, what is it that you're claiming independence from? In your life? Maybe in your business? Maybe you need to change something in your business. Maybe the way you've been doing business isn't working. Maybe the way you've been doing business has been just like frustrating you. What do you need to change? What are you going to declare your independence from today in your business or in your finances or in your relationship or in your relationship with God, your connection with God? What is it that you are going to change or claim your independence from, and what are you willing to pay to get that? There are going to be some that watch this live or recorded. There are going to be some that say, I want this, but I'm only willing to pay this. And then the odds of them getting that are going to be very, very slim because they're not willing to pay the price, the heavy enough price. And so when you think about independence, what is it? What is independence to you? So here's the things I want you to really answer for yourself. Not here, but you can answer them here, or you can answer them in the Facebook group. But what does independence mean to you? And then what do you want independence from? And what if you do, and what if you don't? And what price are you willing to pay? And then here's the final step I want to share with you guys. You've got to be willing to take immediate, decisive, and overwhelming action. Immediate, decisive, and overwhelming action. You know, I had a mentor tell me when I was in 20s, maybe 22, and he said, you know, Bob, he goes, there's not a money problem if you overwhelm it with wealth. I didn't get it at the point. But what he was saying was, if you're having a money problem, overwhelm it with an amount of income. Now, he also went on to say, and it might not be just income. It might be, you might have to overwhelm it with amount of effort. You might have to overwhelm it with an amount of blank time. But all of those things, there's things in our lives right now that we want that we're just not willing to pay a high enough price. Now, look, I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying this. It's better to say, I want that, but I'm not willing to pay the price for that. I'm just not willing to. It's okay to say that. I don't care what your family and what everybody else has said. In my opinion, it's okay to say that, but at least be honest. I want it, but I'm not willing to pay the price for that. You know, I was watching Holly Holmes, who's a UFC fighter. And she had a great comment. She lost a fight, and it was the judge's decision. It wasn't a knockout or tap out. It was the judge's decision, and the judges cited that her opponent had beat her. Now, at the interview, I was wanting to see what she says. I love watching interviews, as you guys know. So I watched this interview and they said, so what do you think about the judge's decision? She goes, I thought I won. She goes, but obviously the judges didn't see it the same way. So what that tells me is the next time I need to make my win so decisive that they can't even think that I didn't win. Wow. Ownership, responsibility, but also if she just made the person tap out, or if she won just like so easily handed, there would be no arguing. There would be no argument. There would be no lack of decision for her favor. It would be in her favor. And so maybe it's just time that you raise the bar. Maybe it's just time that you set the standard a little bit higher. Maybe it's just the time that you say, enough is enough. I'm done. This is what I want. This is what I'm willing to pay. And this is what I'm going to do now. And then take immediate and decisive action. And then maybe surround yourself with people in this community, or maybe you hire that coach, or maybe you join that program that allows you greater accountability, or whatever it is. What it is it's going to be dependent on you. It's going to be dependent on what it is that you want, what the price is that you're going to have to pay, and are you willing to pay it? So I'll open it up, and you guys want to make some comments or questions, feel free to do so. It's not broadcasting live into Facebook. It'll go into there later today. Hey, Flo.
Flo's hiding. Coming there. I was thinking about this, and it's a big price to pay to be independent from all of my mom's stuff.
Yeah.
So I have to finish the list, but that was the first thing that popped in my mind.
Yeah. What does that mean to you to be independent of all your mom's stuff?
Well, it goes deeper down than I'll have more room for my stuff, but
Yeah.
It's that I don't have to have an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
I mean, what may have been important to her is not important to me.
And that's a tough one, man. That is tough when we lose someone. Yeah, it's tough. What's the trade-off? What's the benefit?
I have more room. Things are a little more organized for me. Yeah, it's just releasing.
Will you have more time?
Will I? It'll go to something else.
What I found was that when I went minimal, or when I got rid of most of my stuff, I freed up time. I wasn't any longer going, okay, what do I do with this? What do I do? It's like,
right.
What do I do with what? I don't have much.
Right. Less decision making.
Yeah, less decision. I mean, there's old stories, and I've heard them that, like Mark Zuckerberg and some of these, they always just wore the same kind of clothes because they didn't want to have to wake up in the morning and have to think about a specific decision about what they're going to wear. So they wore very similar clothes. I knew a gentleman very, very wealthy. He wore a pair of jeans and a gray sweatshirt and and shoes that he eventually wore out to the point where he just started duct taping them. And this guy was very wealthy, and he owned a building supply company, and that's the way he lived his life. He had this mansion, beautiful mansion. I think his pool house was like 2,500 square feet. I mean, it's just beautiful on all this acreage, gorgeous in wine country. I asked him, man, Bob, why do you dress like this? He goes, why not? He goes, I don't need to dress up for anybody. I go, okay, but I mean, you can certainly afford new shoes. Why? And he goes, these still work.
It sounds like my mom.
I mean, he didn't care, yet his brother, same amount of wealth because they both own the company. His brother drove the Jag. His brother lived in another really nice house. His brother had the posh office, had the suits, had the really nice, clothes. Just completely different value system. And so I think sometimes we just start accumulating stuff, or we've accumulated stuff because of a parent or because of somebody passing on. And we've just got to say, what does it mean to me to have it? And then what would it mean for me not to have it? And if you get to the point where you go, it would mean I would be so miserable if I didn't have that to remember my mom by, then keep it. But if that's not the case, then you go, then what's it really costing me? Probably costing me some peace of mind, probably costing me that, my house is cluttered. I want to change things. I want to get there. And I just feel overwhelmed. What would that be? What would that be like to not have overwhelm? Right. So that's what it's costing you, is the lack of peace, the lack of overwhelm. I mean, the lack of, clear of head and clear of able to get things done. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck with that's a tough one. Hey, Pearl, how are you, young lady?
Hey, Bob.
You're home.
I'm at my sister's house in Indio today. I've spent some time out here.
Oh, that's nice and hot. Yeah, that's nice.
I came out to cut her hair. I said to her, you better know you matter, because I'm driving into your inferno.
Wow, no doubt.
So, I do love that girl.
Yeah.
So for me, procrastination and living small is what came up. Because I love Nelson Mandela's statement, how dare I live small?
Yeah.
I know I live smaller than is my destiny.
Yeah.
And procrastination bites me in the butt on a regular basis. So
yeah.
There you go.
Good. So did you get some tips on what you're going to do about it? Some ideas on what you're going to do about it?
Yes, and I'm going to go back and listen again.
Good.
Just go back and reabsorb. Sometimes I take notes. Most of the times I take notes. Today I didn't write notes.
Okay.
Today I just sat here and 100% absorbed you. Okay. And I always do love your wisdom, and I love your background. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
My journal entry on July 4th with a picture of a flag up against the sunset, and the simplicity of my journal entry was one statement: let freedom ring.
Amen.
That's all my journal entry said for yesterday, was let freedom ring.
Love it.
So for me, I am a master procrastinator. I'm so good at it. And I do live, and I'm living larger. I am living larger than I have. It's a progressive journey for me. Okay. So I am living larger. Good. So that's it for me. Living. Good.
So why do you think you procrastinate? What's the reason you procrastinate?
Well, it's old habits for sure. And it's a protection device. I know procrastination is a protection device. And why do I find more things to do than I have time to do before I leave? It's old habits.
Yeah.
It's old habits.
So if somebody were to say, you're going to lose your sister if you don't get that thing you've been putting off done,
It'd be done.
Would you lose your sister?
It'd be done.
Okay. So what that proves is it's not about procrastination. It's about, it's not a priority. Right? If it was a priority, you get it done. Your sister's going to die, you get it done. So if it was a priority, you would get it done. So I want you to eradicate the word procrastination for this week. Just get rid of it, because it's not a matter of procrastination. Just say it's not important enough. And maybe you just need to change your level of importance about it. Like, this is important because this is important. This is a must now. This wasn't a must before, but today it's going to become a must. And I think when we start replacing the word procrastination, I get all the time, Bob, I'm a procrastinator. Bob, I'm a procrastinator. So stop labeling yourself that, because one, I can prove that you're not a procrastinator. If you're a procrastinator, if you're a woman, does that change? You're always a woman. If you're a procrastinator, then that means you're always a procrastinator. You're not a procrastinator because there's other things that you don't procrastinate about and you take immediate action. So what's the reason? Because it's just not important enough. So once you own that, and then you go, hey, I just need to make it more important, or I need to stop saying it's important to me.
I hear myself, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and now I hear myself saying I'm a master procrastinator. I tell people all the time, stop telling yourself that. And here I keep telling myself. Oh my gosh.
Well, go into the Facebook group and let us know how that's going this week.
All right, I'll do that. And I'll post my flag on Facebook. Let
Love
freedom.
it. Love it.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, guys. Well, whether you're watching this live or recorded, just know that you are loved, you are appreciated, that you truly matter. And I'm grateful for your influence in this world as we move forward past July 4th. And as you declare your independence from all the different things that you want to declare your independence from, I declare them with you. And please let us know how we can support and encourage you. Post in the Facebook group what you're declaring your independence from so we can help with that as well and encourage you. And just know that you're loved, you matter, and happy Independence Day. Enjoy your next level.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Have a great week.